And Stefanos and I have had this conversation many times, but since we've spoken on the show last, I remember when we first talked about it, you were talking about these digital projects and how they're the way of the future. Well, you're proving that with Teatro Grattacielo. Tell us about what you've done since we've had you on the show.
So, first of all, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to be here with my partner in crime, with Malena. I think we are a formidable pair for so many reasons. This year, Teatro Grattacielo went totally virtual because we didn't have any other choice, obviously. But in the meantime, we made it fun. We made it so that it's something hopefully memorable. We just finished. We filmed two projects. One was a dedication to a great tenor, late tenor Benjamin Logili, who and his 100 years, the celebration of his 100th anniversary of his debut at the Met, and we filmed some scenes from Boito's Mephistopheles. And the second project was Umberto Giordano's Fedora. That was our big project, which is right now in editing. Instead, our first project is already streaming throughout our channels in our website.
And where can people go to see these projects as they emerge?
They can go to grattacielo.org, which is our website, and just hit the button and.
And on comes an opera. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, what did you learn doing the first set of projects that you brought to the second set of projects?
I would like that for Malena to answer, and then I will maybe.
It was interesting because actually both projects are very different. The first, the Mephistopheles, we did just a few scenes with only 4 characters, and we only had 3 people in the day we filmed. The 4th character, Mephistopheles, was a singer, Alessandro Tirota, that lives in Italy, and he recorded his part in Italy, and we added him in post-production. The filming of Fedora was a full cast in a larger venue. So in a way, we can say that the Fedora production was a little more traditional. Take that word with quotation marks. I think further away from what we usually do. But so the goal was very different. The focus for Mephistopheles, we knew would be post-production. So when you see the video, you will see there's a lot of magical stuff that happened that what's not happening on the moment of filming, happened later in video editing. Mm-hmm. Fedora will be more faithful to if you were in the theater.
Okay, so it's more of a theatrical, like an homage to actually theatrical production of opera.
Absolutely, yes, that's the whole idea. And to answer your question, I think that what we have learned throughout going between one and the other production, let's say, project, is that you can, if you have the right people and the right technical knowledge, and you can actually create something pretty good and something very, very, very tasteful and nice for people to be able to enjoy, to have a nice evening with a nice glass of wine, sit on the computers or the televisions and watch a show.
Isn't there something special about people these days are able to watch opera in ways that they never would have in the past? So a more informal approach, maybe a drink in your hand and in your pajamas watching a great opera. What do you think about that, both of you?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, it's not to say it doesn't replace the life experience at all, but it's a new experience. The fact that audiences all around the world can be watching the same show at the same time and controlling their experience, being in their pajamas, having wine, chatting sometimes, depending on the different productions, interacting in such a different way. I think it's wonderful. And even for the artists, it gives us a new playground to try new things. And I love that. I think that's very exciting, and it's opening a new like a new genre. It doesn't have a name yet, but it's just a completely new genre.
I mean, let's be
People
honest.
like you are naming it. You're naming it and producing it. It's going to be something new and exciting. And I hail you both for these experiments. It's wonderful.
Yes, I mean, let's be honest. We have been talking about that for such a long time. How do we get the opera to get to have a larger audience, to have larger vision, not to make feel like the opera is for little? How to be inclusive, and there is our opportunity actually to be inclusive. And to quote a very famous conductor, friend of mine, that I don't want to say the name because I haven't asked permission. We have to live in the now. That's the now. The now is, can we adapt also opera? Can we adapt a masterpiece that was written 150 years ago into the now and make it into something that is popular? There is our opportunity.
Well, certainly with an art form like opera, if it becomes a museum piece, they lose their power and they lose that impact. We have to always be, the next generation of art always has to find ways to recreate art to keep it vibrant and to keep it alive.
Right.
Absolutely. I agree.
So Malena, we've had Stefanos before. We've been through his whole life story and his trip from Greece all the way to New York City as a singer and as an artistic. So I'd like to delve into your past. So you are an Argentinian-born opera singer and stage director, and tell us about your travels and what brought you into opera particularly.
Look, I was born in Argentina. I was born and fully cooked there. I did even my undergrad there. And I started singing. I always sang. My family was very musical, and the music for us was tango and folklorical Argentinian music. That's my background. But classical music was also around. I have an uncle who's in the Teatro Colón in the roster there. So I from very young, I used to go there. I honestly remember a few moments in which it clicked for me that this was really moving. The opera was very moving, but it was quite late. It was, I was maybe 20, 21, that I remember listening to a Traviata DVD, sitting on the floor, reading the libretto and weeping. I don't know. It's how life takes you step by step in one direction. But I did my undergrad as an opera singer in Argentina. Then I came to the US with my husband, who's a conductor. We both did our masters at Manes. In the beginning, in 2006, we graduated. And then, I had a career as a singer, always singing opera, recital, concert, while also singing tango. Always had a project there on the side.
That's fantastic. You were able to do both. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I couldn't avoid it. It kept coming up.
I'm a huge fan of Piazzolla, of course. Who isn't?
Correct. Mm-hmm. And next year is his centennial, so we hear a lot of Piazzolla. But the funny thing is that all through my career as a singer, I always was thinking as a director, either being on stage, thinking how I would do this different. Loving and hating directors I worked with. Stefanos nods because I know he's the same way. Always thinking in a creative way. And at some point, in the last few years, maybe 3-4 years ago, with one project in mind, specifically the María de Buenos Aires, the Piazzolla piece, I found myself, really wanted to put it together myself, to do it the way I had in mind. And I thought I needed to go to school. So I found an amazing program in Brooklyn College here in the city called PIMA, Performance and Interactive Media Arts. I was always interested in technology, and this is a program for artists interested in multimedia and interactive technologies. That's still something I'm very, very interested in. This is all pre-pandemia.
What an incredible turn of events to prepare you for this unexpected situation.
Absolutely. The funny thing is my graduation was in May. So we wrote a piece together, an operatic piece that was supposed to be premiered in May live in a theater. And then in March, happened to us what it happened to everybody. We had to recalibrate. And I was kind of forced to do it in May because I needed to graduate. Maybe if I didn't have that deadline, I would have thought, well, let's postpone it a few months and try to do it live. But I didn't have the choice. I wanted to graduate in May. So we ended up doing a live performance online. So I learned so much with that deadline in mind. And I'm so grateful for it. It was wonderful. It was right timing.
Now, you split your time between singing projects and between directing projects?
Yes, and teaching.
As artists wear many hats. I know Stefanos and I both wear many hats. Between the three of us, we wear an incredible amount of hats.
Absolutely. That's the way to go. Listen, why not?
So what are the challenges when you're doing this new medium, when you're taking the artistic vision and applying that to a film production? What are some challenges that you've encountered?
Stefanos, do you want to go?
No. You go first. And then I will let the ladies first.
Look, every possible challenge. And on the other hand, I can't complain. I find it so fun. The challenge is everything I don't know, but I really find we are in the right time. I can find a YouTube tutorial for anything. So just the stuff I have learned in the last 2 months. We were just talking a few minutes before we started about if you had told me 6 months ago that I would be editing video, editing sound, filming, doing green screen, directing people in Europe. So all of those are challenges, but are also great opportunities. The limits of what the art form have been completely erased. Anything it's possible.
It's kind of interesting because opera, from its very beginning, combined the most state-of-the-art technologies, from the newest cutting-edge music in 1600 to adding great machinery, to adding lighting. All of these things were originally operatic innovations. So maybe this is a good time to be adding this back again, to start innovating in a different way.
Yes. Nobody can tell you now that we don't do that in opera. We do everything.
Absolutely. And if I may, I want also to add that also for me when everything happened, because I run a company and I had to make decisions, and the decisions had to be made very, very fast. I decided right away that together with my board of directors that the way to go was to go digital and to use every technology possible imaginable without having any idea about half of the stuff. So the first thing that I did was I went back to school. I took a 3-month course in Columbia University on marketing and digital practices and social media practices, and it was pretty interesting. It opened me up a little bit my horizons, and like Malena, we are just trying to update our minds constantly every day, so, on practices and learn new skills and just do it all together. But I think, because we're all doing something that we love, I don't know about you guys, but I wake up in the morning excited to sit on my computer and do it all over again. So
it's pretty fascinating to see how every day is something totally different. As a university professor, it's the same with my teaching. I've had to learn to adapt to half of my students in the room, half of my students on a screen, and back and forth, and engaging them both. I've had to learn how to teach my virtual choirs and orchestras how to perform and create music in a time when we can't get together. So it's pretty amazing the things we can overcome as we keep employing different strategies.
Absolutely. It's a moment of innovation, and although it's so challenging for so many artists, we are very blessed to have a chance to try new things in this setting.
Right. But we're also blessed to be able to give work to singers and to musicians.
Amen.
This is a very important aspect that I think everybody should be talking. That it's not only the aspect of me waking up in the morning and having a very full day, which is I'm blessed to have it. But I mean, I feel extremely lucky and extremely blessed to be able to create opportunities for others.
That's a huge part of it. I'm also very involved in doing different projects and hiring artists. And this is our 63rd episode of the show, and each of them has been featuring artists who are doing something interesting, who are engaging their community in a different way. And without the people like yourselves who are out there creating art and making things happen, no one's working.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really scary times. We've had Met Orchestra artists, I've had orchestra players, and they're doing projects like they would have never dreamed of doing a year ago.
Yes, absolutely.
I think about it every day, and I'm like, boy, can you imagine? Like, it's like a dream. But when you see the innovation in the artistic community, it gives me hope, because this will end sometime, and we will open up slowly but surely. And the people who are busy and active are the ones who are going to be able to jump into this new world and survive.
Enriched, I think. I mean, we are
Enriched,
learning
bravo.
new skills.
I love that word. Bravo, Malena. That's the whole idea. Enriched, and I mean, we don't know what's going to be when we reopen. Let's be honest. How much of what we know is going to come back, and how much we will have to wait quite a lot until it comes back. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I was talking the other day with a music director of Teatro Grattacielo, Israel Gursky, about what we're doing next year, and I was telling him, I know that Teatro Grattacielo is used to have a full symphonic orchestra on the stage, but are we sure that next year we will be able to have all these people on the stage? Or we might be thinking of something a little bit more creative, because maybe it will not be possible. Or are we sure that we will have audience? People will trust to come to the theater. Or maybe we have to combine live performance for the few people who want to come out and a broadcast in the same time. Things that we never thought about until a few months ago. It didn't cross our minds at all. It was a performance in the theater.
Yes, and the funny thing is, even if all forces willing, we can all be, with the full audience, full orchestra, it won't be exactly the same as it was before this experience, right? We'll still want to broadcast because people in other continents can see us. It just opened the possibility in our minds of what can be done.
We removed the element of geography and strict linear time, and it really reimagines the entire what we do, because there's no more limitations. There can be a live audience, but there can also be a streamed audience that can watch, just like our podcast. 80% of our people watch our podcast watch it out of time.
Mm-hmm. Correct. I watch Saturday Night Live on Sundays.
Right. And I mean, obviously, there is not the live audience element, but I mean, it's also satisfying to see that there are actually people following you. We are streaming right now this Beniamino Gili project, and we're streaming it through a network that allows you to control who is watching you. And it was very interesting. I was kind of curious to see who has watched it. And we had people in New Zealand, we had people in Australia, we have people in Armenia, in Malta. Who would have ever thought that a performance?
That's so fantastic.
Right.
Makes me so happy.
Yes.
It is heartwarming. I've been getting a lot of people watching the show from Australia, and whenever I'm like, oh, that's so interesting to me, how something we do in New York, tri-state area, gets spread around the world so easily now.
That's fantastic. I was sharing about my thesis project, and it was the first time. My parents are in Argentina, my in-laws are in Israel, I have friends in Europe, friends in Africa, and it was the first time I did a performance where everybody could see it at the same time while I was singing from my living room. And it was so moving. I don't know, it still shocks me when I think about it, that we were all, we had the possibility of being together at the same time, sharing this experience. It felt really close. They were chatting. If you have that, this show was like that. timed, and we needed to be at that time, and the chatting was open. So everybody was chatting and making comments, reacting to the piece in real time. It's very unique.
Yeah, the whole chat function is certainly, people love to comment on things as they're happening. It's like a play-by-play. It's like a sports thing. They get to comment, I love that aria, I love that phrase, bravo. I just love reading the chats as these things go.
And that's something I really thought about that, because in the theater, people don't have that chance. People can interact at the lobby before the show, in the intermission after the show, but during the show, they are not commenting except clapping. But these comments, even people were pointing to each other. Did you see that happened? Oh yeah.
I think the Italians have always been innovators in that interactive media, throwing fruit and things like that. But...
Correct. It comes from there, directly from there to the chat.
Yes. That's totally true.
So how do you keep a sense of intimacy in these video productions? How does a director achieve that?
Intimacy? What do you mean? Tell me more.
The closeness with your audience. How do you find that with the singers? Did the singers have to socially distance when they were singing with each other?
Yep. Yes.
That's a unique set of challenges. Today we were ending the concert with the O Suave Fanciulla from La Boheme, and we just looked at each other and they're like, "What do we do?" I'm like, "We're not going to go off stage arm in arm." I'm like, "Well, I'll meet you at the bar." No, we just finished and we faded out. You know.
Yes, I mean it's interesting. We did film Far Away and then edit together for Mephistopheles, but there was no hugging, no kissing, no touching, no sharing props. I'm not a fan of touching a lot on stage, even in the real stage. So it wasn't difficult to stage it. I'm more interested. I'm really interested in this question of how you keep the intimacy. I think that's a big challenge. There's something about the operatic experience. It's just the vibrations, the intensity of the singer and the energy of the singers that it's more challenging when you are home eating ice cream and you can, I don't know what speakers people are using, what volume, if they are checking at social media while they watch. I can't control the experience as much as if they were at the theater. But that can, in a way, they can control more the intimacy, right? How involved they are. From the directorial point of view, there's just basic things. I mean, when the camera gets closer, it's more intimate than when the camera is far. There's some colors that can suggest this closeness a little more. But that's a great question that makes me think. How do you recreate that experience, that physical experience? Of being close to the musicians.
We have our first question from the audience, and then we'll jump back in. Well, this is for both of you, so take it as you like it. This is like a tag team wrestling match. This is Steve from Akron, Ohio, and he asks, do you get nervous when you watch these on the screen?
Let me tell you that I was pretty confident almost confident of what it would happen on the stage, only because me and Malena, we have such we share exactly the same views and the same ideas. We have a very, in a way, photographic way of seeing the world, and this translates in what we do. But yes, obviously, the first time there is a little bit of butterflies and a little bit of nervousness, and it's something new. But I mean, in a way, I don't know about you, Malena and Jason. I think I have the same feeling also before I go to the stage too, because we're all performers too. So
yes, yeah. I don't think it's multiplied. When you sing in a little concert for 100 people, or if you're broadcasting to infinite people online, it's not infinitely more nerve-wracking. Sometimes being close to people, it's more nerve-wracking. I don't know, there's part of you that needs to let go.
Right.
stuff happens. I mean, with videos, things are a little more controlled. Before we publish something, it has been super checked, watched a million times. With live performances, anything can happen, and you just saw my husband walk by the room, and the internet drops, and yeah, you need to take it super cool.
Yeah, what I miss the most about live performance is that excitement, that the visceral energy that anything can happen at any moment. Literally anything. And I've done productions where wild things have happened, where the curtain was late going up and I have to slow down the overture. Well, these things happen in live performance, and that's what makes it exciting, is that never unknown. But the good thing about it, the tape performance, is you can really comb through and get the product you want out to the audience. That must be a positive aspect.
Absolutely. Adding subtitles, really, I mean, you can tailor a little more, manicure a little more the production that goes out. Although you don't want to make it too perfect, I don't think.
Interesting.
There's something about a little dirt that makes it more flavorful.
Right.
We've all worked with directors who overmanage and overproduce, and maybe give you every single gesture, and then it becomes stilted. I think that's. I like to see a little flexibility in there too.
Yes, totally, and it's kind of what is exciting about opera, that it feels risky all the time. Is he gonna get to that note? Oh my god! Yes, he got to that note. If it's too perfect, too edited, too precious. Yeah, it's boring.
And I mean, in our project, especially because of what Teatro Grattacielo represents, we try to give our audiences a performance experience. It's not the film that you will see in Hollywood, perfectly edited and perfectly cut and perfectly. It's actually a performance that has been filmed with
live. Yeah, that's something I want to make clear. There's no one note in Mephistopheles or Fedora that has been retouched.
Right.
Good.
Everything you hear, it's what came out of the mouth of the singer. We are not correcting them. It's not necessary either. It's amazing performers, but we are not touching.
Right. And we did not record in studio and then attached on the top.
No, it's it's a video of a live performance.
Yeah,
that's an important distinction. You're probably growing up like I did. I grew up watching some of the movies where they dubbed in the singing, where Domingo was walking around the stage, and they're always so strange to me with Pavarotti, and they're just always so strange to me. It's these are great artists. I want to hear them sing, and they're like just fooling around doing things they would never do on the stage if they were in an opera.
Yeah, you want to see the sweat, you want to see the effort. That's what makes it exciting.
Right, or the fear, or the uncertainty, because we all have them also too. I mean, I want to say, and again, I'm not going to say names. Somebody called me.
Oh, say names.
The project, and he told me, I wish I wouldn't look so worried on camera. I was like, are you kidding me? This is wonderful. This is the
real
beautiful thing of you being a performer. We didn't want you to be perfect. We don't want you. We want you to be the beautiful you that you are, as exactly you are. We're not tailoring you to be somebody else, because that's a thing.
Yeah, it's not Barbie opera. It's real opera.
Right. It's the real thing.
Correct. Yes. There you go. Very small.
Yes. Except in film, because that's what it is. We just filmed it, but they were all real performances, and we did not manipulate in that sense.
Do you add a lot of video elements to these productions?
So for Mephistopheles, we did. It's not a lot, but there's, as I mentioned, Mephistopheles. It's actually, it is a magical character in the story, so we played with that. We brought in that image from Italy to add it to the screen. So all of that was manipulated video, and then so this Mephistopheles could turn in flames, could become transparent, could become X-ray, all kinds of strange things. We used artwork by Tom Slaughter and this amazing artist. We were playing with the idea of Gigli being in New York in the 20s, how the experience of him walking in New York. So we used some New York images. But yeah, and we're doing a little also in Fedora. It's just a different aesthetics. But yeah, we're having fun with it. It's not manicuring the image. It's not Botox in the singers. It's a little more magic. In a way, stuff we would like to do on stage, the same way we would light the stage or your projections on stage. We do some of that. We did use projections in Fedora, and we'll use a little post-production as well for fun.
I look forward to seeing how you incorporate that and keep it from overwhelming the artistic product.
Correct. It's
very easy for those sometimes can overwhelm. I've seen a few of these video projects and they're so overdone that it distracts.
Oh, I'm curious what you think of the Mephistopheles. If how much is too much? I like it. I think it was, chirurgical. How do you call it? What's the word in English? Like surgery-like. Just in the right places. Not all over. I also
that's what I mean. Things can be incredibly powerful, but it's just making sure that that doesn't overwhelm all the time, right? It's like overusing.
When it's end up being a sample of everything I can do. Look, I can do this, or I can do that, or I can. No, that's not the goal. Just to use it in the moments that it's necessary to enrich the dramatic moments.
Right, to tell the story.
Correct.
They are actually being used to tell a story, and thank God we have all these possibilities and all these technologies. Malena has used a lot. In certain scenes, she used interactive cameras but not just because it was an interactive camera. Look at me, I'm so cool. I learned how to use interactive camera. It was a way of telling a story.
And I think it can be also, I felt it as necessary in some moments because, again, as we were saying before, people are not having the same experience that if they were in the theater with other people having all this other input. This is just a screen. So sometimes I had the feeling, okay, we need this, we need to surprise the audience here. Keep the connection alive.
Fantastic. I always look, I have 4 children and we go to the movies. We used to before COVID. And you look at like Michael Bay, the director, everything's exploding all the time. And it's like, that doesn't help the plot. It's nice. And in the right time, that can be a stunning effect. But I look forward to seeing how you achieve that. That's wonderful.
Okay, I want to hear after you see it. What do you think?
Yes.
We will talk soon. I can't wait. Now, Stefanos, tell me about putting the team together. I know one of the big jobs of the artistic director and the general director, you have that role, is putting together the whole team. How did you find the right film people? How did you find? Obviously, knowing you for a long time, you're very careful about who you work with, and you're really not only from an artistic perspective, but also from a personality perspective. And I really respect that about what you do.
So obviously, this is my job, and I take a lot of pride in that. I started everything by casting the right people for the roles. People that I knew that they would work not only as singers but also as actors, because when you have to do with camera, you need special people who can actually come through as characters. And in the case of Malena, I had seen her work with Bear Opera, and I knew right away that not only we're going to get along, but we have the same visions, because that's what I wanted. I wanted something that follows what I think would work. And Malena actually helped me out to put together the rest of the team, lighting designers, people who actually have worked together to create that. She has an amazing art director, and for Fedora, we actually we used a crew who has been working together, a film crew who has been working together for years. Global Vision, it's a crew, it's a company who films documentaries and shows for many channels, for CNN, for Fox, etc. So I knew that they would come and they would do a good job, they would deliver, and we splurged in that. Given that we didn't have an orchestra and we couldn't because the limitations, we were in this 6,000 square feet warehouse theater in Brooklyn, and we could have inside the theater only 14 people, which was obviously a huge limitation. So my idea was not only to have great lighting, a great piano for Israel Gursky to play with, but to have also a fantastic 4-camera crew plus
An amazing sound engineer as well,
who obviously makes a difference, because then the product becomes of a certain quality, and that all of this, like Malena said, we didn't know about any of this until a few months ago. We learned and we figured it out by working day and night.
A great shout out to Maestro Israel Gursky, who was on the show a couple months ago and was really a pleasure to talk to and to bring on here. And it was just great to have him here. So I look forward to hearing his piano playing and his conducting at the same time on this one.
Wonderful pianist.
Yes. That lucky us that we have a music director who is actually an excellent pianist, and he has been able to. It was a concern. Let's be honest. It was a concern, the fact that, those operas, especially verismo operas, live through the colors of an orchestra. But it's also operas that you cannot actually cut the orchestra into 5 people. It doesn't sound right. So
Maestro was playing for 3 days straight for the recording, not only rehearsing before, but then we had a full day of rehearsal at the space and then 2 days of filming, and he was playing and conducting and supporting the singers and playing a beautiful piano. He's really a superhero.
Right. And I remember before having countless conversations with him about what do we do. Do we reduce the orchestra down to 5-6 people? And I remember him telling me, no, these scores do not, this particular score, let's not talk about other scores, but Fedora just doesn't sound right. So I said, okay, we are relying on you for the musical part, and he really delivered.
Absolutely. I wanted to say one word about the team. It was interesting that the team we had for Fedora, actually also for Mephistopheles, the lighting designer comes from theater. My video designer comes from video art and interactive live performance. And it's interesting working with people that come with no preconception of how opera should be done. Stefanos and I are there for that, with extensive experience in opera. So it's really great to see their faces, when the singers start singing, they can't believe it. And but they have a sense of freedom that I think adds a lot to our work. They think of stuff that, coming from their background, it really adds to the mix.
And that's really what opera makes. One of the things that makes opera so special is that all of these different professionals bringing their art together, and
it's the original multimedia,
and it creates magic that we couldn't have even thought of when you start. It's magic.
Right. I mean, it's a combination of so many things together, and in a way, why don't we? I think it should be normal that other art forms benefit from opera, and opera benefits from other art forms. Multimedia, interactive technology. All of this should be somehow living together, because they really complement each other. That was very obvious, at least to us. And that's the result that we have put out. We have been able to combine more things into one. And in a way, and I mean, Jason, I know that you know what I'm talking about. Also, me and Malena, we are also opera singers, And an opera singer is not only a singer, he's a musician, he's an actor. It's a combination of so many arts put together. You are a conductor, but you're also an educator. So you are putting so many components within your performance that people sometimes don't realize how much layers there are. So why not open to other layers, to layers that we never thought before?
Absolutely.
So where can people, remind us again where we can go and see this stream when it comes out, and how close are we to getting the finished product?
So
Grattacielo.org.
yes,
Grattacielo.org. Grattacielo. Mephistopheles up right now, and Fedora will be up
at the end of the month. We don't have exactly, because it was a huge project, and it's taken a little bit longer than we thought to edit it, but it's been done. But at least one is ready. It's up on the, and we just waiting in anticipation.
You can't rush these artistic products. But as soon as it's up, I will share it with the Music Matters people as well to get the word out there, because I think it's so exciting what your company is doing and what the artists here are putting together. I applaud this innovation, and I thank you so much for keeping the arts alive in this challenging time, and to reimagining what the artistic community can do during COVID.
Thank you so much. It's really a wonderful opportunity to talk to you, to reach your audience, and you give us an opportunity to think about all of these things. They're really, really important for us and for the artistic community and for the audience at large as well.
Well, thank you both for taking the time to join us on Music Matters, and I look forward to a wonderfully successful Fedora broadcast, and then to the next project down the road.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you for joining us on Music Matters 2020. Please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, like our videos on Facebook, and join our community. Spread our videos around. Help us to share the word as we explore these topics that are so important to artists in today's musical landscape. We'll be broadcasting it on Thursday with a singer from American singer of Ghanaian roots, Kofi Hayford, a bass on the rise. So check that out. And thank you so much, and good night. Remember, keep music alive. Good night.